Welcome to Enlighten Wisdom, beloved souls. The truth has finally come to light, laid bare by the security footage and group chat screenshots. These pieces of evidence have uncovered who was truly behind the drama, revealing the same group that tried to get you kicked out. They're holding back tears now as their own leader exposed the web of lies they spun. As the truth unraveled before the entire friend group on social media, the main instigator, the one who insisted you were the problem, finally broke down, admitting they fabricated all those stories about you. Now you and your real friends are back, your name is cleared, and your place in the circle is stronger than ever. Meanwhile, those who tried to destroy your reputation can't even show up to the usual hangouts anymore. They are too embarrassed now that everyone knows the real story. They lied about you, buried the truth, twisted the narrative to make you out to be the villain. You knew the truth all along, but no one wanted to hear it until today. A high-level whistleblower stepped forward. Not just anyone, someone who was there, someone who played a role in the deception, someone who carried the weight of secrets, convinced they'd never be exposed. They thought they could live with the guilt. They thought they could silence the truth forever. But something changed. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was fear. Perhaps the weight of the lies became too heavy to bear. When they spoke, everything shifted. It wasn't just a slip of the tongue. It wasn't an anonymous leak. It was a full confession, with names, dates, and receipts. The people who worked so hard to paint you as a liar, a fraud, a problem, are now scrambling because the one person they never expected to speak up just exposed them all. And you never had to say a word. The truth spoke for you. In that moment, when the truth came to light, the air shifted and panic spread like wildfire among the ones who thought they had won. Their faces drained of color, their hands trembled. They had tried to control the story, but they never thought the story would turn against them. As the whistleblower's words echoed, the weight of their deception came crashing down. And in that moment, the truth revealed what had always been on your side. They thought they had it all planned out. The lies, the deception, the carefully planted stories designed to discredit you. They twisted the facts, erased the records, and whispered falsehoods into the right ears. For a while, it worked. They built their case against you, brick by brick, thinking no one would question it. But the truth doesn't rot. It doesn't crumble under pressure. It doesn't vanish just because the liars wish it away. Now the truth has returned with vengeance. They thought they buried it deep, locked it away where no one would find it. But the truth doesn't die. It claws its way to the surface. Documents they swore were destroyed. Messages they thought were deleted. Testimonies from people they never expected to speak. And the worst part? It's all in black and white. No rumors, no speculation, no hearsay. Just solid, irrefutable proof. You were innocent, and they were guilty of everything they accused you of. You don't have to argue, explain, or beg for anyone to believe you. The evidence speaks louder than they ever could. Now, they are the ones with no defense. Emails, transactions, hidden files, evidence they never thought would see the light of day. It's all there, laid bare for all to see. The lies, the deception, the foundation of their betrayal cracking beneath the weight of undeniable truth. They had convinced themselves they were right. They laughed at your struggles, mocked your silence, reveled in your suffering. They believed the lies they spread, some out of ignorance, others out of pure malice. But none of them were prepared for this moment. There is always a breaking point, that exact second when denial is no longer an option. And you saw it happen. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a slow, creeping horror settling into their bones, a realization so sharp it stole the air from their lungs. You heard the gasp. You saw one of them avert their gaze, unable to meet your eyes. Some blinked rapidly, desperate to act normal, to pretend they weren't part of the destruction. But it was too late. The evidence was right in front of them, unforgiving, unshakable, absolute. They had spent so much time believing you were the villain, feeding off the lie as if it were gospel. And now, they couldn't escape the truth staring them in the face. It didn't just prove your innocence, it proved they were wrong. Wrong to doubt you, wrong to betray you, wrong to ever believe they had the right to judge you. And the weight of it crashed down on them. You saw it in the way their shoulders slumped, in the way their fingers twitched, in the way their breath caught in their throats. The realization was suffocating, because it wasn't just about the truth coming out. It was about how much they had enjoyed your suffering. They didn't just misjudge you. They wanted you to be guilty. And that is what haunts them the most. You can see it in their eyes now. Regret, shame, panic. They want to take it back. The whispers, the accusations, the smirks. But you remember. Every betrayal, every cold glance, every moment they watched you struggle and said nothing. And they know you remember. That's why they look away, that's why their hands shake, that's why they are suddenly so quiet. Because they can't rewrite what happened. They can't undo what they did. And now they have to live with it. But you never needed their tears. You never needed their apologies, their sudden self-reflection, their late-night whispers of regret. That doesn't stop them from breaking. It starts small. A furrowed brow, a clenched jaw, the way their hands tighten into fists. They fight it, they try to hold on to the arrogance, the righteousness they once wore like armor. But they can't. Because the truth has shattered them. And one by one you watch the weight of it settle into their bones. Some swallow hard, blinking back the sting of guilt they never thought they'd feel. Some bite their lips, eyes darting around, desperate for an escape. Some take a shaky breath. And then it happens. Tears. Not for you. Never for you. They cry for themselves. Because now, the pain they inflicted on you is staring them in the face. And for the first time they have to see it. Not as gossip, not as entertainment, not as some twisted game, but as the truth. They convinced themselves they weren't really part of it, that they were just bystanders, that it wasn't as bad as it seemed. But deep down, they knew the truth. It was betrayal. And the worst part? There's no undoing it. They want to pretend it wasn't that serious, that they were simply going along with the crowd. But you remember, the smirks, the whispers, the way they treated your suffering like a spectacle. They had no problem watching you drown. And now they are the ones gasping for air. Then one of them finally breaks, voice trembling, admitting the truth they swore they would never say. I don't know why I did it. I just went along with the crowd. But their regret isn't for what they did to you, it's for the fact that they can no longer see themselves as the hero of their own story. That's why they cry. Because deep down, they realize what you've known all along. They were weak. They weren't thinking, they weren't questioning, they weren't standing on truth. They were following. They whispered behind your back, pointed fingers, and wove their lies into something that looked like truth. And for a time they got away with it. But whispers don't hold weight. They fade, get lost in the noise, morph into distant rumors. Paper doesn't. Screenshots don't. Voice recordings don't. Everything they swore would stay buried has surfaced. They thought they were careful, thought they deleted enough, covered their tracks, made sure their words would never come back to haunt them. They were wrong. Because the truth doesn't disappear. It lingers, waiting for the right moment. And today, that moment has arrived. The files hit the table. The room turns cold. Emails, messages, documents with their names stamped all over them. Proof. Undeniable. Unforgiving. Even the ones who wanted to keep doubting you, the ones who clung to the lie like it was their lifeline, can't look away anymore. You watch them as they read, the nervous swallowing, the twitch in their fingers, the way they refuse to meet your eyes, because now they see their own words staring back at them. The same lies they whispered in secret, now printed in ink. The same schemes they plotted behind closed doors, now sitting in front of everyone, time-stamped. Undeniable, there's no twisting it now. They were so sure they were untouchable, so sure their words would never find their way back to you. But they did, and they arrived at the perfect moment. A hidden document, long ignored, pushed aside because they never thought it would matter, suddenly reappeared. And it destroyed everything. You see it, the way their hands tremble, the way their confidence dissolves into panic. This wasn't supposed to happen. They thought they won. They thought they buried it deep enough. But the truth has a way of clawing its way to the surface. And when it does not ask for permission. It does not wait for convenience. It lands like a hammer, unforgiving, absolute, final. You don't have to say a word. They know exactly what they did. And now everyone else knows too. Their voices used to be so loud, so confident, so sure of themselves. But standing in front of the proof, in front of the very thing that exposes them for who they truly are, they have nothing left to say. They thought they were in control. They spread the rumors, twisted the story, made you out to be the problem. But deep down, you always knew they weren't smart enough to orchestrate all of this on their own. There was always someone behind the scenes, a manipulator, a strategist, a hidden hand pulling every string. And now, their name is out in the open. They were careful, always in the background, never the one pointing fingers directly, but always the one whispering in the right ears. They let others do their dirty work. Let them believe they were acting on their own, when in reality they never were. They were pawns. And you were their target. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you deserved it, but because you saw too much, because you couldn't be controlled, because you were everything they feared. So they pulled the strings. They made sure their foot soldiers believed their lies, weaponized ignorance against you. But the thing about puppeteers, they are nothing without the puppets. And today, every string they held has been severed. The whistleblower didn't just expose the lies, they exposed the liar. The real architect of your downfall. The one who whispered the orders, orchestrated every move, pushed people into battle without them ever realizing they were fighting a war that was never even theirs. And now, the very people who carried out the plan, the ones who thought they were acting on their own, see it. They see who used them. The realization hits hard. Their pride won't let them admit it, but you can see it. In the way their expressions shift, in the way they look at each other, searching for an explanation that doesn't exist. They thought they had agency. They thought they had a choice. They thought they were righteous, justified. They weren't. They were nothing more than pawns. And you don't have to tell them. They already know. But the worst part? The puppet master never cared about them. Never did. They fed them lies, used them as shields, let them take all the risks while they sat back, untouched. But now they are all exposed. And you? You're not the one crumbling. You're not the one caught in the chaos. You're not the one scrambling to undo what's been done. They are, because now the truth they never wanted to face is staring them down. They were never in control. They never had power. They were just tools in someone else's war. And the war is over. They never verified it. They never questioned it. They just accepted it. And you? You watched. You felt every door close, every stare turn cold, every betrayal unfold in slow motion. But truth doesn't stay buried forever. The moment it surfaced, the ground beneath them cracked. The weight of their deception, the very foundation of their carefully built falsehoods began to shake. And then, it all collapsed. The betrayals that never made sense, the losses that felt like bad luck, the people who suddenly turned on you for no reason. None of it was coincidence. It was deliberate. It was orchestrated. And now, the entire puzzle is clear. One truth. That's all it took. One undeniable fact to send the first domino falling. And you saw it. The shift in their faces. Panic, confusion, desperation. They scrambled to undo it, to cover their tracks, to rewrite history. But it was too late. The same lie that traveled halfway around the world just hit a brick wall. And that wall was the truth. They can't run from it. They can't deny it. Emails, messages, voice recordings, proof, names, timestamps, direct evidence, undeniable, and you don't even have to speak. The truth is louder than they ever were. The people who once laughed at your downfall are choking on their own deception. They thought they were untouchable, thought they were too clever to get caught. But they never planned for this, the moment when everything unraveled. Now they're scrambling, trying to separate themselves from the wreckage, trying to act innocent, trying to blame each other. They're pretending they never had a hand in it. But it's all written down, their words, their lies, their names, attached to every move they made. They did this to themselves. They dug the pit, and now they are the ones falling into it. And you? You're standing at the top, watching, unshaken, untouched, vindicated. They are drowning in the collapse of their own lies, and there is no way out. Not for them. They doubted you. They laughed at you. They talked about you like you weren't even human. They thought they had you figured out. They never did. They thought they knew who you were, but they never did. They judged you based on whispers, assumptions, and the carefully crafted lies of people who never wanted you to win. And for a while they enjoyed it. They reveled in your downfall, took comfort in your silence, and believed their own stories about you, because it made them feel powerful. But truth doesn't ask for permission to be revealed. It does not knock. It does not wait. It does not care who is comfortable with it. And today, it has set you free. You never had to argue. You never had to defend yourself. You never had to beg for them to see you for who you really are. Vindication came to you naturally. You didn't chase it. You didn't demand it. You never needed their approval. The truth spoke for you. And now, the same mouths that once spread lies about you are suddenly speaking in your defense. The same people who turned their backs are now standing in front of you, looking for a way back in. But you see them for who they are. You see the guilt in their eyes. You hear the way their voices tremble when they say your name now. You notice how quickly they switch sides, not because they truly care, but because they can't stand being wrong. And the worst part? They know you don't need their apology. That's what haunts them. For the first time, they see you for who you are. Unshaken, untouchable, vindicated. And they have to live with the fact that they were wrong about you. But that's their weight to carry, not yours. Because you never lost yourself. You never lost your truth. You never needed their validation. They will never forget this moment. And neither will you. Because the same people who celebrated your downfall, they now have to watch your rise, and that is something they will never recover from. They were there. They saw it all. Every lie that was told about you. Every whisper behind your back. Every moment you were torn apart for things that weren't true. And what did they do? Nothing. They didn't spread the rumors, but they listened. They didn't throw the stones, but they watched. They didn't betray you, but they let it happen. And now their silence is suffocating them. Because the truth is out. The deception has crumbled, and they have to face what they refuse to acknowledge. They tell themselves they weren't part of it, that they were just bystanders. But silence is complicity, and they know it. They're looking at you now, questioning themselves. Why didn't I say something? Why didn't I defend them? Why did I just stand there and let it happen? The truth is simple. They were afraid. Afraid of being cast out. Afraid of standing alone. Afraid of speaking the truth in a room full of liars. But you? You never needed a crowd. You never needed approval. You never needed permission to stand in your truth. And that is what separates you from them, and now they feel it. Some of them want to make amends. You can hear it in their voices, see it in the way they hesitate before speaking to you, as if they don't deserve to say your name anymore. They want to come back, they want to apologize, they want to tell you they didn't mean to stay quiet. But you remember. You remember who spoke up. You remember who stood beside you when it mattered. And you remember who turned their face away, who let the lie live just because it was easier than confronting the truth. And the thing about the past? It cannot be rewritten. They have to live with what they didn't do. They have to sit with the fact that when you needed them, they said nothing. And now you can feel it the moment you walk into a room. The energy is different. The same people who once spoke so freely about you, the ones who laughed, whispered, and spread their lies like wildfire. They don't know what to do now. Some avoid eye contact altogether, pretending they don't see you, hoping you won't acknowledge their existence. Others, they act as if nothing ever happened. As if they never doubted you, never turned their backs, never stood on the sidelines while you were torn apart. But you see through it, because you remember. You remember the way they looked at you when they thought you were guilty. The smugness, the judgment, the certainty in their voices when they spoke your name as if it was something to spit out. And now your name is spoken in hushed voices, laced with regret and curiosity. Because the truth has flipped the script on them. The same people who were so sure they knew who you were don't know how to face you anymore. They don't know what to say. Should they apologize? Should they act normal? Should they explain themselves? It doesn't matter, because no matter what they choose, you've already seen their true colors, and nothing will ever be the same again. They thought they won. When they dragged your name through the dirt, when they painted you as the villain, when they laughed while you suffered, they thought they were untouchable. But guilt is a slow poison, and now it's eating them alive. They can't escape it. They can't rewrite it. They can't undo the way they celebrated your downfall. So they do what cowards do best. They try to rewrite history. They say they always believed in you. They act like they never really had a problem with you. They pretend they were on your side the entire time. Lies. You hear it in their voices, the desperation. You see it in their actions, the way they suddenly want to be near you again. And then there are the worst of them. The ones who said the ugliest things, the ones who went out of their way to destroy you. And now? They're the ones reaching out, trying to reconnect, hoping you'll forget. One of them, the loudest voice against you, suddenly wants to talk. They send a message, a casual "How have you been?" as if they didn't spend months tearing you apart. And you can almost hear the panic behind their words. They don't miss you. They miss what being close to you could have done for them. They tried to define you, to shape you through their lies, to carve their narrative into your identity, as if they had the right to control it. They failed, because you were never theirs to mold. This was never about proving them wrong, it was about proving yourself right. They wanted you to crumble under the weight of their deception, to second-guess yourself, to beg for validation that was never theirs to give. But instead, you rose. And now, you don't need their apologies. You don't need their approval. You don't need them. What they meant for evil, God turned for good. You see everything clearly now. You see who was for you. You see who was against you, and most importantly, you see who you've become, and they don't recognize you anymore. How could they? You've outgrown the version of yourself they thought they could control. You've stepped into a power they never saw coming, and that's why they watch you now in silence and regret. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten Wisdom.